Trauma doesn't just leave a mark on the soul, it etches itself onto the very fabric of the brain. The scars it leaves are not just emotional but also physical, altering the brain's structure and function in profound ways. Imagine being held hostage, not by a physical captor, but by your own memories. These memories are not just fleeting thoughts, they are vivid, intrusive, and often debilitating, replaying the worst moments of one's life over and over again. This is the terrifying reality for millions who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. It's a condition that doesn't discriminate, affecting people from all walks of life, from soldiers returning from war to survivors of abuse and natural disasters. Their minds, once sanctuaries, become prisons, haunted by the ghosts of past experiences. These experiences are not just memories. They are living nightmares that can be triggered by the most innocuous of stimuli. The world, once a place of wonder, transforms into a minefield of potential triggers, each one a threat, a promise of reliving the unspeakable. Everyday sounds, sights, and even smells can become sources of intense fear and anxiety. PTSD is not weakness, it's not a choice. It's a natural response to unnatural events, a testament to the brain's incredible ability to adapt and survive, even in the face of overwhelming adversity. It's the brain's desperate attempt to protect itself, to survive in a world that suddenly feels perilous and unpredictable. This hypervigilance, while meant to keep us safe, often backfires, trapping individuals in a constant state of alertness and fear. But this survival mechanism comes at a cost, a rewiring of the brain's circuitry that can leave individuals feeling perpetually on edge, trapped in a cycle of fear and despair. This constant state of arousal can lead to a host of other issues, including insomnia, depression, and even physical health problems. The tragedy of PTSD is that the very organ designed to protect us, to help us navigate the world, becomes our tormentor. The brain, in its attempt to shield us from harm, ends up causing more pain and suffering. It's a cruel twist of fate, a betrayal by the very system that should be our greatest ally. This betrayal can leave individuals feeling isolated, misunderstood, and hopeless as they struggle to make sense of their experiences and find a way to heal. But understanding the neurological underpinnings of PTSD is the first step towards dismantling the bars of this invisible prison and reclaiming the mind from the grip of trauma. With the right support, therapy, and sometimes medication, individuals can begin to rebuild their lives, finding hope and strength in the process of healing. To comprehend the profound impact of PTSD, we must journey deep within the intricate landscape of the human brain. This journey reveals how trauma leaves an indelible mark, altering the very fabric of our neural pathways. Imagine the brain as a vast, interconnected network of pathways, each one representing a memory, a thought, a feeling. These pathways are like the threads of a delicate tapestry woven together to create the rich and complex experience of our consciousness. Trauma, like a seismic tremor, disrupts this delicate equilibrium, leaving behind fissures and fault lines that alter the brain's architecture. These disruptions can be so profound that they change the way we perceive the world and interact with it. Certain regions of the brain, once humming with harmonious activity, become hijacked by fear and anxiety. The balance that once existed is replaced by a state of hypervigilance and constant alertness. The amygdala, our brain's alarm system, becomes hypersensitive, perpetually scanning for threats, even in the most innocuous of situations. This heightened state of alert can make everyday experiences feel threatening and overwhelming. The hippocampus, the keeper of memories, struggles to organize and contextualize traumatic experiences, leaving fragments of fear and horror to resurface unbidden. This disorganization can lead to flashbacks and intrusive memories that are as vivid and distressing as the original trauma. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, the seat of reason and executive function, finds itself overwhelmed by the amygdala's relentless alarm bells. This part of the brain, responsible for decision-making and rational thought, struggles to maintain control. Rational thought becomes elusive, replaced by a visceral tide of fear and panic. The ability to think clearly and make decisions is compromised, leading to a sense of helplessness and confusion. The brain, once a symphony of coordinated activity, becomes a cacophony of distress signals, leaving the individual feeling trapped in a perpetual state of fight, flight, or freeze. This constant state of high alert can be exhausting and debilitating, affecting every aspect of a person's life. The human brain is a marvel of adaptability, constantly rewiring itself in response to experiences. This remarkable phenomenon, known as neuroplasticity, is the foundation of learning, memory, and growth. But like a double-edged sword, neuroplasticity can also pave the path to pathology. In the crucible of trauma, neuroplasticity can work against us, reinforcing the neural pathways associated with fear, anxiety, and hypervigilance. Imagine a path in the woods, barely visible at first. But with each repeated journey, the path becomes more defined, the undergrowth trampled, making it the easiest and most familiar route to travel. Similarly, in the brain of someone with PTSD, the neural pathways activated during the traumatic event become strengthened, while those associated with calmness and emotional regulation weaken from disuse. This creates a vicious cycle where even the slightest reminder of the trauma can trigger a cascade of fear and physiological arousal, further solidifying the trauma's grip on the brain. Section 4. The amygdala's alarm, a hair trigger for fear. Deep within the brain's limbic system lies the amygdala, a small almond-shaped structure that plays a pivotal role in processing emotions, particularly fear and anxiety. In individuals with PTSD, the amygdala becomes hyperactive, like a vigilant watchdog that's constantly on high alert, mistaking shadows for monsters and harmless sounds for approaching danger. This heightened amygdala activity leads to an exaggerated fear response, even in situations that pose no real threat. Imagine a bird startled by a sudden noise, its heart racing, its body flooded with adrenaline. This is the amygdala in action, triggering the fight-or-flight response that is essential for survival. But in PTSD, this survival mechanism becomes maladaptive, activated in response to triggers that are merely reminders of the trauma, not actual threats. The amygdala's hair trigger sensitivity keeps the individual in a perpetual state of fear and anxiety, making it difficult to relax, feel safe, and engage in everyday life without experiencing overwhelming distress. Section 5. The hippocampus, under siege. Lost in a maze of memories. While the amygdala sounds the alarm, the hippocampus, another key player in the brain's limbic system, grapples with the task of processing and storing memories. But trauma can leave the hippocampus vulnerable, disrupting its ability to organize and contextualize memories effectively. In individuals with PTSD, memories of the traumatic event are often fragmented, lacking a clear beginning, middle, and end. These fragmented memories, laden with intense emotions, can resurface unexpectedly, triggered by seemingly unrelated sights, sounds, or smells. Imagine trying to assemble a jigsaw puzzle with missing pieces, the image distorted and incomplete. The hippocampus's struggle to create a cohesive narrative of the trauma contributes to the haunting nature of PTSD. The past intrudes on the present, not as a distant memory but as a visceral, sensory experience, leaving the individual feeling as though they are reliving the trauma again and again. Section 6. The prefrontal cortex disarmed when rationality fails. The prefrontal cortex, the brain's executive center, is responsible for higher-order cognitive functions such as planning, decision-making, and emotional regulation. It is the part of the brain that allows us to think ahead, consider consequences, and manage our emotional responses. This region is crucial for maintaining a balanced and rational perspective on the world around us. But in the throes of PTSD, the prefrontal cortex can become overwhelmed by the amygdala's relentless alarm signals, like a CEO whose authority is undermined by a constant barrage of urgent, albeit often inaccurate, reports from the security team. The amygdala, which is responsible for processing emotions and detecting threats, can hijack the brain's resources, leading to a state of constant alertness and fear. This diminished prefrontal cortex activity impairs the individual's ability to think clearly, control impulses, and regulate their emotions effectively. The person may find it difficult to focus on tasks, make decisions, or even engage in simple daily activities without feeling overwhelmed. Imagine trying to solve a complex math problem while a siren blares incessantly in the background. The noise is not just a distraction, it creates a sense of urgency and panic that makes rational thought nearly impossible. The constant noise makes it nearly impossible to concentrate, to think rationally, to find a solution. This is similar to what happens in the brain of someone with PTSD, where the amygdala's alarm signals drown out the prefrontal cortex's ability to process information calmly and logically. Similarly, The overactive amygdala in PTSD hijacks the prefrontal cortex's resources, making it challenging to engage in logical thought, make sound judgments, and manage the overwhelming emotions triggered by the trauma. The person may feel trapped in a cycle of fear and anxiety, unable to break free from the grip of their traumatic memories. This can lead to impulsive behaviors, difficulty concentrating, and a sense of being overwhelmed by even simple tasks. Everyday activities that were once manageable can become daunting challenges, further exacerbating the individual's stress and anxiety. The struggle to regain control over their thoughts and emotions can feel like an insurmountable battle, leaving them feeling isolated and misunderstood.